define data types. Now we will move on to the next topic, that is declaration of variables. So we studied what are variables or identifiers, variable names, right? Variables and identifiers, variables or identifiers. We studied what is a constant. We studied what is a data type. What are the different types of data types we studied. Now, using these two, we are going to declare a variable. So if you join a variable name, or variable names are also known as identifier name, right? Variables or identifiers, along with the data type in which it has to be used in the program, that becomes the declaration of the variable. So after declaration of the variables only, in C programming language, we will be able to assign and also to use those variables in the program. There are new programming languages like C, like Python, and some other programming languages. Now we don't want, need not declare the variables. Or listen here. So in C programming language, and even C++, Java and all, we have to first declare the variables mentioning the data type. In other programming language like Python and all, now we will be directly assigning the value to the variable without declaring. So whatever assignment, whatever value we are assigning will determine the data type. Okay, so here initially we have to declare the variable. So now we know what is a variable name or an identifier name. What are the rules for naming the variable or identifier we have seen. So if you give the mention the data type in which we are planning to use that variable in the program, that becomes a declaration of the variable. So the syntax for declaration of the variable is data type followed by the variable name or identifier name. Declaration tells the compiler about the data type, and also we can mention the size of the variable. In case of an array variable, array declaration, we will be, suppose if we are declaring a character array, we have to mention the size of the variable. Okay, so here I'm just showing some data types like integer, and I'm declaring a variable called count of the data type int. Here there are two variables, number and total. You can either tell it as an identifier name or as a variable name. Number and total are declared with a data type int. So there are only 64 participants now. So double like a ratio is declared as a double data type. Price, no, both are having decimal values, right? So we are declaring it as float, and if I need more precision, I'll be going for double, right? We studied all those, and now I'm declaring C as a character. So these are the different, so we can write an example also. Declaration of the compiler with the, will give the compiler an idea. Declaration of the variable will give the compiler an idea of what will be the data type and what is the size of the variable. Now, the next thing is, after declaration of the variable, we'll be assigning the values to the variable. Assigning of the values to the variable is done using the assignment operator. Suppose if I want to assign the value of count as 5, we will be using an assignment operator. Here you see count equal to 5. And if you want to assign 12 to both the variable number and total, you can do it in the same line. Number equal to total equal to 12. And one more thing is like, if you, in the beginning of the program, if you want to use a variable from 0, or if I want to use the value of or the variable from 12, I can do it in the first line of the program. That type of assignment of value is known as initialization. The process of giving the initial value to the variable is called initialization. So it is nothing but assigning of value only, but in the beginning of the program, if we are planning to start a value or a variable value from a particular value, then we are starting with the initialization. Initialization value gives an initial value. It need not be always 0. Sometimes we want some number to be starting from 12, or here price we are making it as 12.5. So ratio, we are making it as 12.23. So this will be the initial value of ratio, initial value of price. So whatever we are assigning or planning to have as a starting value, we can mention it as during the initialization. Okay, so that can also be done using the assignment operator. The first step will be declaration, second will be assigning values. Now, this format specifiers. Format specifier is used to specify the type and the format of the data to be stored and which type of data to print. So the format specifiers are used mainly in the input and the output statement. So what are the two functions which we will be using for printing an output and getting an input? We will study in the next slide. That is where we will be getting the input, from where we will be getting an input from the user, which is the standard input device of our computer or laptop. Which is our standard input device? Keyboard. Which is our standard output device? Monitor, right? Standard output device. So the default input device is keyboard. Standard output device or the default output device will be our monitor. Those who can unmute, you should always chat in the chat box, like message in the chat box. 65 participants. Okay. This will be the our keyboard will be our standard input device, and monitor will be our standard output device. So in order to specify the format, listen here, the type and the format of the data to be stored. So whatever we are giving as an input will be stored in our system, right? So the format in which the data has to be stored, or it has to be typed and stored in the system, and also to give us an output or to print it on the standard output device, we have to specify using a format specifier. Format specifier. So this format specifies, it will be starting with a percentage symbol, that is known as a conversion specifier. So the format specifiers mostly which we will be using throughout the program will be %C for a single character, %D for a decimal integer, %F for a floating point, and %S will be for the string. So we have studied different data types, right? Which are the primary data types we have seen already. So in primary or the fundamental data type, if we are using an integer value, or if we want the user to enter an integer value, we will be mentioning in the function which is used to accept the input from the user, we will be mentioning a %D. That means for a decimal integer, we will be mentioning it as a %D. Percentage is known as a conversion specifier. Whenever the compiler encounters a percentage symbol, it will understand that some conversion is required, and then the preceding or the succeeding character D will determine the data type to which it has to convert. Even if you enter 12.2, if it is mentioned as %D, it will be taking only the integer value. It will round off to 12. Okay, %F means if you are entering a decimal point, it will be taking it as a decimal value. %S, it will be taking it as a string. What is the specialty for a string? The compiler will be adding a null character at the end. If you are giving %D as the format specifier, at the end of the string, the compiler will be appending a null character. Null character we already studied, / followed by 0. If you are giving a %C, it will be accepted as a single character, and it will not be appending or the compiler will not append a null character at the end. If we are specifying the format specifier as %S, the value what we enter will be taken as a string, and it will be appending, compiler will be appending a null character. This you keep it in mind for the programs, when we are executing the programs. I will explain it again in the management of input output statements. One more time it is coming, but these are the essential things which we need even to run a small program. So I'm just taking it now. Again, I'll be repeating it during that chapter, when we are taking that chapter. So %C for the character. So if I want to print the the grade which is there in grade variable. Grade is a variable which I have declared, and if I am having a value A, B, C or D, it will be printing grade is percentage C. Wherever we are specifying the format specifier, it will be printing the value of the variable grade. Got it? So if I am declaring D as an integer, and no, here no, this is not an integer. This is the format specifier. D is used for the integer value. If I am printing printf number is percentage D, in place of percentage D, the value of the variable num1 will be printed. So suppose, if I am declaring the variable, or if I have the value of num1, I had assigned as, if I had assigned as 10, then using this printf statement, it will be printing number is 10. So instead of percentage D, it will be printing the value of the variable num1. So this, when we do the program at the end of this chapter, only 2 more slides are there. We will execute and see in Turbo C how you are getting the value and how you are printing the value. So if I am using the format specifier F, I'll be able to print the floating point value. So if suppose average is a variable which I have given the value as some point value, if I have average, if I have assigned, I had declared average as a floating variable, and if I have assigned the value 12.4, then using printf statement, if I am giving number is percentage F, this percentage F will be replaced by the value of the variable average. So when I am using this average, the average will be, if it is assigned the value 12.4, here instead of percentage F, the value of the variable average will be printed. Number is 12.4. If I am mentioning it as percentage D, it will be giving only 12. While if I am giving it as percentage F, it will give the decimal point also. Now, if I am giving the format specifier as S, then as I told, printf my name is percentage S. So if name is a character array in which I have given the value name equal to Benita, then it will be printing my name is, instead of percentages, it will be printing the value of the variable name. So likewise, this format specifies, this examples we will execute and I'll explain again and again. I just kept a slide in order to understand the format specifiers. Now, we will first move on to the functions which are used for the interaction between the user and the computer. So there should be certain things which are used for the interaction between the user and the computer. We are going to write a program which is nothing but a language which the computer can understand. So we understand only English and the machine understand only binary code. So we are using a programming language which will be acting as a mediator. So which will be converting our instructions into a language which the computer understands. So the first step which we have to do in writing the program will be, that is some interaction that we, in order to running the program should be, so to get some instructions or some input from the user. So in order to run a program, we have to get some input from the user. So in order to get an input from the user, we have to use the function called scanf. After doing or getting the input, we will process the input and then we will find, we will do some calculation and we'll get an output that will be printed onto the, where is the default output? What is the default output device? Output device is our monitor, right? So we have to print print the output onto the monitor using printf. We will get an input from the user using scanf through the keyboard, using scanf through the keyboard, and print the output to the default output device called monitor using printf. Those who have studied C++, Cout and all, you I think you had studied, right? Here in C programming language, we will be making use of scanf to get an input from the user through the keyboard, and printf for printing the output onto the monitor by the computer. So this way we will be interacting. We'll give input through the keyboard. We'll see output from the computer through the monitor. So functions printf and scanf, these both are the built-in functions which are existing in the C library. So these facilitate the interaction, or it will help in the interaction between the user and the computer. To use printf and scanf, I just now told it is existing in the built-in function which is existing in the C library. So which C library it is existing? stdio.h library. So it is a header file, and we have to, that category under which it is coming is the standard input output devices. So input output functions. So in order to include that, we have to use the preprocessor directive # include stdio.h statement in the beginning. Got it? So after using this # include, we'll be able to use the functions, built-in functions like printf and scanf. Now we will see what is printf function. What are the printf is a function, like main we had told, no, main is a function. Likewise, printf is also a function. So what are the things which we need for a function? A function should have a name, it should have a return value, and it should have an argument. Arguments are passed within the parentheses. Arguments are passed within the parentheses. So we will see what are the arguments which we have to pass for the printf function. So now the first line is printf is a library function, and it is used to send the formatted output onto the screen. We studied that it is used to send an output to the screen. Screen means it is our default output device. So in order to get a formatted output, formatted means what I told for the university exam, you will be getting marks only for the 5 marks is for the formatted output, right? So here, in order to send a formatted output onto the screen, you have to use a printf function. The function prints the string inside the quotation. So if you just give printf, and within the double quotes, if you just give St. Francis College, it will be printing. And if you want some value of a variable to be printed, you have to specify two things, that is format specifier and the variable name whose value has to be printed. So here, this is one method of using the printf. Printf, if you want to print the value of A, then you have to give two arguments separated by a comma. What is the first argument? First argument should be our format specifier. Second argument should be the variable whose value has to be printed. So if you just give %DA, it will be printing the value of A in place. That is, it will be replacing %D, and it will be printing the value of A, which is nothing but 25, in place of %D. As we mentioned, %D, it will be printing the integer value. Now, if I want some sentence also to be printed, we can give within a printf, my age is. All should listen and write down the notes also. So when I'm asking you to write the program, I'll be typing and you should be telling me what should be given. So within double quotes, I'll be giving the sentence, my age is, and then here %D. So if I'm giving %D, and then the next argument, if I'm giving A, so what will happen now? In the first argument which we have mentioned, wherever we have mentioned %D, the value of the variable A will be printed. Value of the variable is 25. So it will be printing onto the screen, my age is 25. Got it? So this way we can use printf. Either only if you don't want to print any value of a variable, you can just give in double quotes. I'll show you another example where no printf can be given without any without two argument. That is, if I just want to print without the value of the variable, like if I want to give only St. Francis College, so printf, you should be careful that it should not be capital. It's automatically taking in my the PowerPoint. So here printf St. Francis College, if I print, it will be printing without any two arguments. Here I have given only one argument, that is the string to be printed. If I want to print the value of a variable like A, onto the monitor, then I have to specify two arguments. What are the two arguments here? The two arguments should be separated by a comma. You can see a comma, right? So this comma will be separating the two arguments. First argument will be the format specifier. Here you can write a sentence along with the format specifier. So wherever we are giving the format specifier, the value of this variable A will be printed. Got it? So this way we can use the printf function. Now, so I have given the syntax printf. The first argument will be the format specifier. Second one will be the value to be printed. So you can tell it as the printf %d, whatever format we want the format, the value of the variable to be printed. You can specify, and then second argument should be the variable name. Now, the next function which is used for the interaction between the user and the computer is the scanf function. Scanf function read the standard input, which is usually our keyboard. This is used to get an input from our user, that is using the keyboard. Okay, so keyboard is our default input device, and scanf is also having two arguments, same as our printf. Format specifier will be the first argument. Second argument will be our variable, but the variable name should be preceded by an address operator. That is, it should start with an address operator, which is known as ampersand. So ampersand is our address operator. So we will be making use of an address operator before the value of the or before the name of the variable. So for scanf also we have two arguments. One will be the format specifier, and second one will be our variable name starting with an ampersand symbol. So why we are using an ampersand symbol? So when we are declaring a variable, I had told you in the last class, when I am declaring a variable, the computer or the compiler will be allocating a memory for the variable, right? So if I am declaring a variable called int age, we have studied that when I am declaring a variable of data type int, how many bytes will be allocated? Answer in the chat box. There are 67 participants now. You can type it in the chat box, Abhishek MP. If you have any doubts, you can ask. Otherwise, you have raised your hands, right? How many bytes will be allocated when we are declaring a variable? 2 bytes, right? 2 bytes is how many bits? Okay. So not to everyone, I told you many times, you have to message me privately. So when I'm declaring a variable, listen here, the variable age, the name of the variable is age, right? It will be enough. It will be allocated 2 bytes in memory. It will be allocated 2 bytes in memory. 2 bytes means 16 bits. So name of that location will be age. Name of the location will be age. Each memory space is recognized by an address. Your house is under will be having a house name as well as an address, right? The street name and all. No. Likewise, each address memory space also will be having an address, which is a numeric address. So it will be having some number, which will be taken as the address of the memory location. There are two things. One will be the name. There are two things. One will be the value which we can store inside that variable. The other one will be the address of that variable. So what is the variable value which I am going to assign? Suppose in this, if I am assigning the age as 25, this value will be assigned. So here, that value will be assigned. In the memory space which we are providing, what will happen is we will be, when we are assigning age equal to 25, in the memory space, 2 bytes what we have allocated for age, we will be storing during assignment, we will be storing the value 25. So for age, the variable age is having two things. One will be the value which is stored in that address location, and the other one will be the address of that variable. Address of the variable is Here, what is the address?
80769.
80769. And what is the value of the variable? 25, right? So in order to get the value of the variable, we can just mention age. But if you want to get the address of the variable, you have to mention ampersand age. Okay. So if I am mentioning ampersand age, wherever I am mentioning ampersand age, I will be referring to the address. Wherever I am mentioning ampersand followed by the variable name, I will be referring to the address. Wherever I am just writing the variable name, suppose I am writing age alone, I will be referring, already it is assigned 25 means, wherever I am using age, I will be referring to the value which is stored at the address, that is 25. Got it? So when I am writing age, I am referring to 25. When I am writing ampersand age, I am mentioning or referring to the address of the variable age. Got it? So when I am entering the value using scanf, I am asking the question to the user, printf, enter your age, and using scanf, I am accepting the age. When I am accepting the age, the user will be entering 25 means from the keyboard, if I am giving 25 means that age variable will be assigned 25. So we are passing the address. We are asking the compiler to store the value 25 at the mentioned address. Got it? Just like our post, we are mentioning the address and we are asking the compiler to give the, we are accepting using the scanf, and we are going to store 25 in the address location mentioned. Now, Navya raised. If you have any doubts, you can always put in the chat box.
No, ma'am, by mistake, I raised my hand, ma'am.
So when we are using the scanf, we should give the address, because we are going to store that value, right? We are getting the input from the user and we are going to store it in the location mentioned by the address. So this way, you will be using scanf. So only one thing you have to remember, what are the two arguments of printf function? Format specifier and the variable name. But in scanf, we will be using format specifier. The second argument will be variable name, but with the address operator ampersand. Got it? Second argument of scanf begins with an ampersand followed by the variable name. Got it? So like this, you have to give the scanf function. We will use this scanf function and printf and write a program, a small program. Okay, syntax is format specifier, and then you have to mention an ampersand followed by the variable name. So here format specifier and variable name preceded by an ampersand operator. The ampersand, when combined with the variable name, tells scanf the address of the memory at which the variable is to be stored. The computer then stores the value that the user enters for number 1 at that address location. Hope it is clear. So now one other function which we are using to write a C program, one simple C program, if we want to use to write also, we have to use another function called getCH. This is to hold the output screen until we see it, because in some cases, we will not be able to see the output screen. So mostly within milliseconds it will go off. So in order to hold the output screen, using printf will be printing, right, onto the monitor, but we have to catch hold of the monitor. It will be going off within a split of seconds. So in order to hold the output screen so that we will see the output message from the computer, we have to use getCH function. Prompts. So whenever we are using getCH function, until we press on any of the keys which are there in the keyboard, or we just give an enter button, it will hold the output screen. So in order to use the getCH function, we have to use the header file conio.h. So #include conio.h. Even if you are not including, now it is working, but still I told these are the default things which we had, we would be using. Even if you are saving the program as CPP, you will have to use. Got it? In C compiler, we are having all these without even including the header files we are able to. But for the exam, if they ask, getCH is included in the C library or the header file conio.h. It can be used to hold the program execution, which is to wait until the user enters a character. So when I'm running, I will show you with and without using getch how the program runs. Now, another function which we are using is clear screen. To clear the screen in Turbo C, you can use the function CLR SCR. So this is also under predefined and kept in the library function, or it is in the header file. Imtiaz, if you have any doubts, you can always ask. So you're trying out all features in Zoom, I think. So here, if you have any doubts, you should raise the hands. Okay. It is predefined function, which is there in the header file conio.h, and it is predefined by using this function. So this will be clearing the monitor. So each time when you are running the program, that output screen will be having the output. So if I'm running the program with a printf St. Francis College, it will be existing in the output screen. So when I'm running the program second time also, the previous output, that is St. Francis College, will be still there unless we are using the clear screen function, it will be existing there. So if I'm using clear screen in the beginning of the program, then it will be clearing the output screen for the next execution. So like this, we will print a program now. So before that, you would give the attendance in the chat box, and also using this. There are 66 participants, and this attendance link I am sending. So you give attendance using the link. Meanwhile, I'll show you how to take the Turbo C. Give attendance fast. As I had told before, okay, give attendance in the, those who are not able to give it in the link, you can give it in the chat box also, no problem. So as I told before, any program, when you want to execute, you have to take Turbo C, click on the icon, and then click on the, either you can place it as a shortcut on the taskbar, or you can have it on the, sorry. This program, everybody should execute and send me the screenshot. Understood? Privately, you have to send the screenshot, or you have to take a pic with your mobile phone. Got it? So start Turbo C, and if you are not having laptop, then it's your this thing. You will not be able to execute any of the programs. So make sure that you have laptop. Hope you are able to see. Right? I am sharing. Okay. So take a Turbo C, take a new file. So after that, you can see that it is named as noname.cpp. First, you have to save the file, because during execution, if the power failure is there, means it will be going off. So you can name it as prg1.c. You can give the extension as .c. Extension is .c. Header files are having extension .h. We are making a C program, so doing a C program, so we are giving the extension as .c. If we are doing CPP, C++ program, we will give it as .cpp. So now we are making it as .c. So we didn't create any folder as such, but then we are going to name the file as program1.c. Okay. So what should be the first line? All can speak now, because so the first line should be
hash include.
Hash include.
Hash include.
std.h.
Then you can start with the main. So I'll show you the difference of
void main.
If you just write main, it will show what error it will show. It is not having any return value. Right? So whenever you start a function, you should put a main. Okay, you can message in the chat box, because some of you are having slow net. So if you are not giving void, it will be showing that it is not having any return value.
Return value.
Okay. So in order to avoid that, we are using this void. So whenever we are starting a program or when we are writing a function, always start and end a curly bracket. That means a function is having something to be defined over here. Okay, this is the name of the function. Whatever we mentioned before the function name will be our return value. Whatever we are writing within the parenthesis will be our arguments. Now without a main we cannot write a program, right? So now we are trying to give a simple program just to interact with the computer. We want to see whether he is existing or not, right? So we will be just writing St. Francis College just to print a string. We need not give two arguments. I told no, only to print St. Francis College. That is, we are not using any variable name. We didn't declare any variable. We are not assigning any variable. We are not printing the value of a variable, means we can just give it within the double quotes. Whatever string we are giving within the for printing using printf, you have to mention within double